We're so excited to announce our partnership with the Senior Living Transformation Summit. Join us in Boston on February 26th and 27th with a collaboration of senior living leaders who are at the cutting edge of digital transformation and catering for baby boomer residents. Learn about innovative approaches to business systems to make recruiting, retaining, and supporting staff easier and more efficient. To find out more, visit seniorlivingtransformation.com. Welcome to the Challenging the Way We Age podcast, hosted by the Mavericks of Senior Living, Francis and Catherine, focusing on creativity, ingenuity, and inspiration to educate and inspire changes in the senior experience, breaking the status quo. We want to thank our supporters, Assured Assisted Living, Serenity App, Sevens Home Care, and Sevens Residential Memory Care. Now get ready for the next episode.
Hey Mavericks, we are excited to be here today. This is Catherine Wells, your Chief Inspiration Maverick.
And I'm Francis Lagasse, your Chief Curiosity Maverick. And we are here on a nice cold and snowy day in Denver with a special guest from the land of Florida.
Who did not bring sunshine.
Mr. Kris Chana.
The land of Florida, I like that.
It's
like its own area. You know?
Mr. Kris is the founder and CEO of Chelsea Place Senior Care, which has both day programming or adult day, assisted living, and home care. So, Kris, thanks for joining us, and thanks for coming from Florida.
No, thanks for having me today. I'm excited. I feel like we just were exploring this conversation here just a few weeks ago. I think just briefly, Catherine and I explored it, so to be here is awesome. So thank you.
All right.
Well, thanks, guys.
Well, let's talk senior living.
Yes.
Why don't you tell us, Kris? Tell us what you're up to. What do you have going on there in Florida?
All sorts of stuff. So I guess in Florida right now, I mean, Florida's just there's just massive growth in the senior care space for sure. Definitely on the assisted living side. When we first started, my wife and I, we started with a smaller assisted living facility, more of a home-like environment. We have 12 residents that live in our assisted living facility, and then we actually, the unique part about it is my wife and I lived there for the first 3.5 years of our marriage. So it's kind of
how early in your marriage did you guys live there?
So it's early, like day one.
Really? Wow, you are brave, courageous. So
here's the story. Like we were engaged, and I had just finished school, moved down to Port Charlotte to purchase this assisted living facility. She was finishing up school at UF. Okay. And so we were getting married in June of 2012, and so it was just after she had finished school. It was the summer just after she had finished her school up at UF. And so basically, she gets done. She goes out to the Bahamas, gets us ready for like the wedding, and then I meet her out there. We do our get married, do our honeymoon, and then literally come back and move into the assisted living facility.
I bet that is not a very common story. I'm thinking, wow.
So like day one, married, moved into assisted living.
So what had you do this, and what's the name of your community?
So I named it after Chelsea. So it's called Chelsea Place Senior Care.
And Chelsea is?
And Chelsea's my wife.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Sorry. Yeah. So she's so we named it after her. She really has been through it all with me. It was one of those times where it was like when I look back, I'm like, this was crazy. Like, I can't believe she actually stayed. The fact that we lived there for 3.5 years, and the only two things that she made me do in order for her to like make that work for her is one, we had to, when I was renovating the bathroom that we used, like we had to put a bathtub in it, even though I knew that I was going to have to like pull that out someday because it wasn't going to be appropriate for us. So it was like that was one request. Okay. And then the other one was that we needed an above ground swimming pool, so I put one in the backyard, so we made a little environment for ourselves. But we lived there for 3.5 years. So that was the two sacrifices I had to make because she made her a much bigger one.
That's commitment, though.
I think so too. Yeah. And I'm really curious, and I bet our listeners are too. What was that experience like for you?
So I think when I was at that age and kind of like trying to start my own business and go through that process, like honestly, like as a startup, like I look back at that time and I almost tried to hide that, in a sense.
It's a heck of a story, though.
No, so I know that now, right? Okay. But like when you're starting out and someone's like, well, so where do you live? You're like,
down the street,
like at my work, next to Sarah's room. It's just a weird psychologically, when I was trying to get started, like I'm only 23. Like I'm trying to create this
Wow.
like persona of being a professional, you know, and trying to prove to the community that I can do this.
Sure.
And so like kind of facing that initially in a town where it's kind of like this good old boys network. But looking back, like honestly, like now I'm just it was essential for me to be like where I am today, to understand what it's like to whether you're caring for your mom or dad, like to understand what that's like, whether you're living with them or you're just going through like the process of having to, you know, kind of, you know, care for them, but you're still trying to work. Because like in some ways, like I'm trying to get, you know, Miss Sara ready for the day, but like because I have a 9 o'clock meeting I have to get to, but my shift doesn't start, or like the girl that's going to relieve me doesn't come in till like 8:45, you know, and so like I'm like dressed up for the day, ready, you know, I'm running, I go get, you know, I'm in a suit, I got a tie on, I'm 23, I'm trying to like look a little bit more professional, you know, now I'm like, okay, golf shirt and shorts and, you know, soon to be flip-flops, but the point is like back then I was trying to prove something, you know, and so long story short, like I would go help her out, you know, and I'd be getting her ready for the day, and then I was like trying to rush and go to work to go market or to go inform the community of like what it is that we were doing. So I think when it comes to like understanding like what it's like to be a family caregiver, it gave me one of the best perspectives like I think people could ever have, because you're living in that environment and trying to do your family thing and trying to do like, you know, Chelsea and I are trying to start our marriage. You know, I'm trying to go out and market and run the business, but I'm also still a caregiver, you know. And so that experience really taught me so much, you know, from the mindset of a caregiver. So
yeah, I would think so. I can't imagine anything that can replace that. You can't train that, right?
Yeah.
That's an experience that you have.
Yeah. And
What was your hardest challenge of that? Because obviously you were the epitome of a professional / family caregiver. What was that challenge?
Honestly, like when it comes to caregiver burnout, because like I look at like myself and I think about how, you know, like I look at how I want our staff and our folks to treat our residents, you know, but like, and I could never understand like how could someone ever get upset with their mom or dad, you know, but sometimes that like 24/7. Like where you just, whether it's day and night, and you can't stop thinking about that person, you know, they're okay, what's going on, or in the middle of the night you have a hard time sleeping because you're kind of like half asleep, because you're like, you don't know if they're going to get up in the middle of the night, if they're going to need help, or if they're going to hit the call button, you know, there's just this like constant state of anxiety. So like it really does something to people that they just, you can't explain it. No family member from afar will ever understand it. And you know, when I think about it, I remember I hadn't left the facility for 30 days. Like I was literally like day and night, hadn't gotten in and out of my vehicle, didn't even go outside of the building probably for 30 straight days, kind of like during this early like grind. And I'll never forget when I got an opportunity just to go down to like McDonald's for like a chocolate shake, and it was the greatest. I felt like going to the Bahamas and sat on the beach. Like it was like a 10-minute little
true
breather.
Vacation to go to McDonald's.
And it was just like that breather that like almost like I feel like families need, and to understand that like you need to take those breaks. The reason why I love this daycare center like concept that we've created.
So can you elaborate before you go into that?
Yeah.
Tell us what daycare is. Like what really is that, so our listeners get a sense.
Sure. And I want to like circle back on to your point that you were talking about too, because I think it's important. But like so we refer to it as daytime senior care activities, or adult daycare, or senior daycare, and in our environment it is a standalone setting. And we basically are another alternative. I always say we're an alternative to in-home care. So we have our own home care agency as well. But like I think, you know, for families that are saying like, and kind of like to basically answer the point of like why daycare, but also to the point of like the getting inside of the brain or the mind of the individual is, can you imagine like waking up and realizing that all your friends are gone, they're all dead. Like you have no one to talk to. You're in this house by yourself. Your family's an hour away, and like, what do you do? And you can barely get around. You can't drive. Like, can you imagine being in this scenario where that's your life? Like, this is it. This is what retirement is.
And you have multiple people taking care of you, and they change a lot.
Right. And that might be the only thing you even look forward to. And maybe before that person like comes in, you know, like maybe before that person comes in to see you, like all you thought was like in my mind, like what scared the heck out of me is like, this is what my life looks like. Nothing about that is living,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I think, you know, when I thought through home care, it's like, you know, even having our own home care, because I think, you know, home care is a necessity, and everyone's different, you know, but at least I was just kind of putting myself in the frame of mind of like what happens when I get to that age. And, you know, I'm a social person. I like to be out and around people, and I like to experience new things. And if I can't do that, like, what's my life going to be like? Because I ain't going to, like that life's going to suck. So like I and this is what I realized, that this daycare was so powerful, because it got you around other people that are in the same exact, you know, position or same spot in life. You know, so it's like, you know, all of these folks that come to the center, they're all in very similar situations on their own, but it's this is the club or the social gathering where these people that are all suffering, whether it's maybe some folks might have some cognitive, you know, function, maybe or, you know, some other folks are suffering from some of those physical limitations, but they can be themselves in this environment and be safe and have fun and interact with each other and be around people and have something to look forward to. Really, actually, finally have a purpose in life. You know, have a meaning in
it's our
life,
favorite word,
you know?
purpose.
Purpose-driven.
That's right. That's what this is all about. You
Yeah.
know? And I think that's when I saw that in those people, and them find a sense of purpose again. I was like, oh my God, this has to be everywhere. Like, we need to put this everywhere, because.
Yes.
Nothing that home care or nothing that daycare or nothing the home care or assisted living could ever do could really replicate what the center can do for people.
So that's the center for daycare, the adult daycare.
Yep.
And then you mentioned you also have home care.
We have home care as well. Yep.
And how do you create purpose-driven care in home care?
You know, it's definitely hard. I feel like a lot of times it comes down to the individual, meaning the caregiver, and matching that caregiver up with the right person in the home, and that's not easy. Like I've learned, you know, it really takes a really good understanding from the home office, and that's why sometimes, like, I think technology can aid in it, but it's like, I think there's intuition that, like, your staff can have where it's like, this person would be good with this person, or this person would be good with that person, that, like, sometimes I don't know if technology can fully automate that, you know. I'm trying to design our positions to be a certain type of, like, so meaning if we have like two positions where they're going to be more like they're more like drama oriented, they're more, you know, like kind of like the folks that we met this morning at your place, you know, like they're just outgoing and fun and like energetic, and like they have a caring personality, but they almost have like this like theatrical like you know kind of behavioral you know motif or whatever about them that makes them, like, you know, really engaging, you know, that makes them a great activities person. Where you might have someone that's like more soft-spoken and laid back and wants to read books, and like that person might be great. Like, so it's like trying to find, like, okay, this high-energy person would be great for Mrs. you know Smith, and then this person would be good for this person because they could like read books and do those things together, and go to museums. You know,
that comes like, more from you knowing your care staff, right?
Yeah.
And knowing your residents.
But when it comes back to like how do you get purpose for those, you know, the people in home care, you know, if we can't get them into the center, then it's really trying to find like how can we connect them with the right caregiver, the one that like is going to really give meaning to their life, you know, and it's going to be that person they're going to bond with, that like becomes their new friend that they look forward to, you know. And I know sometimes, like, we have a gentleman right now who's super independent, and he's like living with us, like not necessarily because he needs the care, but it's more of a sobriety issue, you know. And he's older, he's a senior, you know, but it's like he needs more of just like making sure he doesn't get into the liquor cabinet, you know. So it's, I mean,
that loneliness and isolation would.
And it's like trying to find someone that he can connect with, that like he really looks forward to taking him out. Gotcha. And maybe going to like the war museums, or like going to like the military type stuff, and like really being able to like enjoy things that he likes, and this person can do it with him. So like, we're trying to find him like a couple different guys right now. They can like go do the fishing trip, or like go do the thing that like, you know, he would enjoy to do. That's going to make his life special. Cool. You know.
What is your biggest challenge, either across, you know, if it's broad across all three, or do you have a different challenge that you battle with for each one of your businesses?
I think they're all like different, you know, as far as challenges. You know, I think assisted living, we have this massive kind of like overbuilding of assisted living facilities. You know, I think with the
Do you mean more in Florida or in general?
I think in general. I think it depends on the area. You know, I think if you get down to like really specific geographies, I think, you know, there's certain areas that may be underserved. But I think when you look at the market from a holistic perspective, you know, I really believe I read like, I've sensed it, But then I've been kind of diving deeper into like, and I looked at all the communities that were put up in our area, you know, and like the number of beds that have been like added to our county versus the number of people that have like migrated to it. You know, it just is not in this. There's not an equilibrium there. That like I would say all the big boxes in our area are sitting around 60% occupancy.
Well, did you say 60?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is low.
Yeah. You know, it's just one of those things that like, you know, is I think we're just having a massive change like happening in the assisted living marketplace. I think there's systemic problems throughout. It's just like which one do we attack first?
What are some of the ways that you think you can create hope to really overcome those challenges?
I think that, you know, the big box play is probably not what the future is going to look like when it comes to care. I think it'll be a part of it. So I'm grateful that we're not necessarily that play, or, you know, but I think what's cool about this is that I think there's going to be like, one thing that's been interesting is over time, and I was kind of like doing a generational study or like learning about just the different generations, and it was interesting how much of, and I didn't realize this, but like how much of an effect the baby boomer generation actually had on like the entire country as a whole, and I was like, wow, like just to think like all the things that like they demanded or like wanted and like they came to fruition because of their persistence in like wanting to change things up. So I think the hard part is I think that, you know, when you look at the big box model, like, you know, even though there's some that are like really like, wow, this is super fancy, I still feel like they still are like, you know, sticking to a 20-year-old model that the baby boomer generation is not even like necessarily considering yet, you know, or maybe, you know, it's not even on their radar yet.
Something that you said to me when we were just chatting before we started recording, you said, I want to bring fun back into senior living.
Yes.
And this is one of the ways that you're doing it. What else are you doing around fun?
Like, you know, when I envision our future senior day, like our senior center that we're creating, like you know, we're gonna have like a seaplane coming out of the wall. It's gonna look like something straight out of Margaritaville. Like we're gonna have our own signature cocktail drinks that are like they'll be non-alcoholic probably, but they'll be like a signature Chelsea Place like turquoise colored drink that like we'll have at all of our locations. Like, you know, it's just like something like, you know, that you're like, what? Like this is for like this wouldn't even like, it wouldn't even, my goal would be like you'd come in and be like, what? This is for us? Like this is for, you know, I would love for them to just, you know, have this totally different experience when they walk in the door, you know.
My favorite stories are when I talk with the folks, the staff members of any kind, from the dining room to whoever, and I get that huge smile from them where they say, I get to come in here every day and be with these people. Those are the ones it warms my heart.
It's electrifying. Like it really like it's
a good
exciting.
word.
But it goes to show, though, that no matter where you are in senior living, there might be a fit for you. Right? And that's what you keep talking about is that just because you might not want to be a chef or a cook, or you might not want to do direct hands-on care per se, there could be these roles that we've never really developed
100%.
in senior living.
I think like, you know, it's like, and I think that like when I look at it, and I think I've always had a really soft spot here because like with the activities, I didn't know it at the time, but it was one of my favorite things to do at our assisted living facility. I didn't realize that passion for activities would like really translate to this like totally like different senior center program that we've created. But I remember like taking like and playing like balloons with all of my residents and stuff like that. But like I always took it to an extreme of like trying to like juggle like 5 balloons in the air at the same time, to the point where like they're like, you know, I'm hitting them and hitting them back, and like they're all like they're all laughing at me because like I'm like falling all over the place, and
because
like
you're being the clown.
Exactly.
And they can enjoy though.
Exactly. And so like, you know, I look back and, you know, may have been a simple like activity, maybe not been something that exciting, but they're all laughing. So I think my entire goal like was to always make them laugh. Like if I could just make them laugh and smile, like and actually like just, you know, have
that's
fun.
a great goal.
You know? And if we could do that, then at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you play. Like I always tell my staff, like it's not about the activity, it's about the experience that we create around the activity. The activity is just a tool, but it's the experience we create using that activity that is the actual, like, you know, the reason why we're
love
there.
that. So in creating hope, you're doing a couple of things. You have the bright colors and the environment that doesn't feel like typical senior living,
right?
And you do more of an approach where you're engaging and sparking joy in a fun, maybe drama, kind of way.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like if someone wanted to do a cartwheel and or do something silly, like just to make a laugh, like to have them laugh, like that, like I'm totally cool.
Do you
with
do
that.
cartwheels?
I don't do cartwheels.
I can't do them anymore.
But
Do you do them, Francis? Do you do cartwheels?
I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to find out. I might be able to.
I might entertain
try.
some people when I fall.
We can have my daughter do cartwheels.
There
She's
we
pretty
go.
good.
There we go.
And that's what I love too, like bringing kids into that environment.
The
too. My God.
intergenerational,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of
Cool.
studies on that, and the impact on loneliness, isolation, purpose, everything
Right.
related to having kids in the environment. What you're doing there sounds really unique and interesting, and I'm excited to be sharing this with our audience. Tell us what one thing you really would like to leave our audience with in terms of challenging today's senior living.
So I really feel like when we think about senior living, we have to think about it like from like entirely different perspective. Like, so ground up, from technology to the care coordination to the training to the financing to just the entire process, even the future. Like say 5-10 years from now, like nothing's private pay. So it's completely funded by Medicare Advantage. Like, does anyone even know what that looks like or what we need to be like when we're there? How important is case management going to be as part of being internal and external? So I think like when we design this package, like how can we design this thing different from the ground up? And we need to
is that what
inspire.
you're challenging?
Yeah, the challenge is like,
All
I want to
right.
walk into your building and be like, wow, I've never seen that
That
before.
is
That
new.
is revolutionary.
But do you think it's? I'll challenge you on this. Is it more than just the building? Because everything you talked about.
Sorry. Well,
what I mean by no, it's okay. What I mean by that is everything you talked about was actually implementation. It wasn't. Design was a small part of it,
Yeah.
but you talked about the activities, the engagement, the purpose.
Right. We have to help people, like caregivers, and people coming into this position at entry-level positions, and help them understand like what they want out of this experience. So it really comes down to this like something that we're rolling out into 2020 is all of our interviews now are all about you.
You as the caregiver.
Like what do you want? Like, why are you here? What do you want? What do you want out of your life? How bad do you want this
What's
out of
your
your life?
purpose?
What's your purpose?
What's your why?
And then if I can figure out and just having a general idea, like on that piece of paper, like starting out, maybe you don't even know. Maybe you need help figuring that out. Like now, if I can help you understand that and then design a pathway for you to get to where you want to go within our company, or even get you along a path that's going to help you achieve then whatever is next for you, I think we'll get such deeper engagement and enjoyment out of roles and reduce this whole just turnover rates and all these issues that we're having at a systemic level, and education too. Like, for instance, like one of our caregivers, she bought a car. She's like, oh, I bought this car. She's like all excited about it. I'm like, so tell me about it. Like, because I was like, I thought we were going to talk about this before we bought the car, because I was going to help her buy the car, like, at least like how to go through the process. And she's like, well, and I'm like, how much are you paying in interest rate? She's like, I don't know. It's $500 a month. I'm like, it's $500. Okay, well, what's? And she's like, well, it's 18%. I'm like, what?
Yikes.
So my point is she
didn't know.
doesn't even know. It doesn't even mean anything.
Right.
Yeah. So my thing is like, we need to provide all of our folks at entry-level positions basic economics and just financial stewardship in their own homes, and help them understand, so we can help them help themselves through this process. Now, of course, we're not going to help everyone, right? I mean, people are going to do what they want to do, and but there's going to be some people that we can help. And I think if for those that we can really provide some guidance there and really focus on that training side of it, and if I could take that person that's an entertainer and get them an entertainer spot, if I could take that person that had more administrative skills and give them in an administrative spot, if I could take that person that was like, hey, I just want to care for people. Like I've made my money. I mean, maybe it's not about money anymore. I just want to take care of people. Like, give me 20 hours a week, and I can help her find enjoyment working with someone there. And it's really just trying to get these folks that are coming into this industry involved in the right areas in the industry that makes it enjoyable for them,
Yeah.
And
It's a great way to look at hiring, though.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is. And anytime you can help someone grow professionally and personally on the job, they're going to be more committed and more excited.
100%. And I think it's our responsibility going forward. Just like Frances is doing such a great job with the housing side of it. You know, it's like, I think it's our responsibility going forward to help people through this process. I would love to see, like, us, like, when we grow older, like, have our own university that we send all of our nurses to. Like people could, like, literally go into Chelsea Place University and receive an RN degree, and, like, leave there with all the training, and actually then come back into our company in a different role. You know, where we could help mold that experience, you know, based on, you know, how that role works in our operation, you know.
Yeah.
But
one of the things we talk about on the podcast sometimes is, as an industry, we talk a lot. We talk about change.
Exactly.
We don't always take action, and it's not to say that people don't want to take action. We all know the realities of this industry, but what I'm hearing and what you're doing is action. And I think that you are starting to break some of the rules, and I love that.
And I love breaking rules.
Chris, thank you so much.
Chris, how can they find more about you?
Oh, yeah.
Sure. LinkedIn, Kris Chana, KRIS, last name Chana, CHANA, or chelseaplacecare.com. chelseaplacecare.com is our website for Chelsea Place. So.
And we will put all of that in the show notes and comment section as well, too, so that you can see Chris's spelling of his name and also the web address.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for
I love the energy, though. It's nice.
Yeah, I do, too.
It's good.
It's refreshing, isn't it?
To have that positive outlook on the aging process.
Looking forward to seeing what you do.
Yes. I'm excited to be seeing what you guys do and working alongside you guys, too.
Right on. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.